Are you wondering if travel after age 70 would be worthwhile? Although traveling to new destinations and experiencing new cultures may be thrilling, but there are risks which many older adults don't think about until they're faced with these risks. As we age, both our bodies and minds undergo a change which make traveling more stressful, unpredictably as well as hazardous. Many people believe that they're able to travel at the same speed as they did during their youth, but the truth is, at 70, traveling poses particular challenges that could turn an ideal trip into a difficult, risky experience. In this short video, we'll go over 5 key reasons for why traveling at the age of 70 is dangerous, from health issues that are unexpected to hidden financial risks which could take your savings away. Every aspect will make you aware of the issues older adults face when they travel. At the end of this instructional video, you'll be armed with an idea of the reasons why traveling at this point is a matter of extreme caution and the best way to ensure your safety if you decide to go on the trip. Keep watching until the very end, because the final motive on the list is something that many older people do not think about. But this is one of the most frequent ways in which people are unable to save money, time, and even their sense of security when traveling. Let's begin. First, there is an increase in risk of medical emergency and health issues. One of the most significant issues when traveling after the age of 70 is the likelihood of developing sudden health issues. As we get older and our bodies get more unpredictable, and illnesses such as heart disease as well as high blood pressure and respiratory ailments can escalate into emergency situations when we don't anticipate them. When you're at home, it's simple to seek medical treatment quickly. However, when traveling, particularly in a foreign location or in a foreign nation, and needing the appropriate procedure can become more complex. The smallest health problem which could have been dealt with without difficulty at home may transform into a more serious or potentially life-threatening issue if you're away from the doctor you're currently seeing. In the case of many older adults, the threat of a medical emergency isn't just a figment of the imagination, but it's a real possibility. Traveling long distances can raise the likelihood of blood clots, which is also known as deep vein thrombosis. At high altitudes, there is a stress on the heart and the lungs, particularly for people suffering from pre-existing ailments. Simple things like the effects of heat exhaustion or dehydration can be more severe when you live in a different climate. Seniors also are more susceptible to getting sick, and this means the exposure to new germs and infections in various places can result in unexpected health issues. Think about the story of James, a 74-year-old man who always enjoyed travel. He had planned a cruise of 2 weeks together with his wife, thinking it was a great opportunity to explore new destinations with minimal physical stress. On the 4th day his cruise, he began to feel extreme chest discomfort. Medical staff on board offered basic medical care. However, he required urgent hospitalization. Since they were located in the middle of ocean, they needed to wait until an emergency. A quick evacuation to the closest port was delayed by several hours. The patient was fortunate to survive and was able to return home. However, the experience caused him to be shaken. The trip that was meant to be a perfect vacation turned into a nightmare, which he later acknowledged could have been avoided if been able to assess the risk more attentively. Medical insurance is a different concern. A lot of seniors believe that the health insurance they have in place will cover them wherever they go, and discover in the end that they're not insured for medical care within a foreign nation. If they don't have the proper travel insurance, and hospitalization, procedures, or even the most basic medicines can lead to enormous out-of-pocket expenses. Many seniors pay hundreds of dollars in order to receive the medical care they require while traveling abroad. What can be done when you're approaching 70 and are considering traveling? It is important to consult your doctor before making any decisions. Complete a health evaluation. Discuss any risks that could be a concern and ensure you carry all the necessary medicines on hand. Make sure to research the health infrastructure in your area, when you travel abroad. If you are planning to go on a trip, be sure to have adequate travel insurance to cover medical evacuations in the event of an emergency and hospital stay. Since, when you're in the health field preparation, it can mean an all-important difference between an enjoyable travel experience and an emergency. Being healthy is among the main factors to having a good time after reaching the age of. Although medical issues are an issue, however, they're not the sole reason why traveling can be risky. 2. Increase in exposure to contamination and infection. One of the main hazards of traveling after age 70 is that you are more exposed to viruses, germs, and foodborne diseases. A crowded airport, an overcrowded plane or public transportation, and insecure restaurants can make for an ideal environment in which germs and viruses flourish. In younger travelers, experiencing a mild cold or stomachache could be an inconvenience. For a short time, in the case of seniors, illnesses can cause extreme complications, hospitalizations, and even long-term health issues. An unintentional trip may cause an older person to a greater number of illnesses than what they typically experience during their stay at home, or in certain instances it is the case that their immune system doesn't have the strength to fight these illnesses. As we get older, the immune system is naturally weaker and makes it more difficult to heal from illnesses. The respiratory diseases, particularly, can pose significant risks to people who are older. The results of studies have revealed that senior citizens tend to be more susceptible to complications due to the influenza, pneumonia, and even common colds in the event of exposure to strains that are new across the globe. Airplanes in particular can be a perfect breeding ground for viruses. People are usually crowded with each other, breathing fresh air for long periods in a row. Because passengers from all over the globe travel through airports every day and are constantly exposed to diseases that your body has had no exposure to prior. Also, there's the problem of water and food safety. There are many travelers who want to explore new food options from different nations. However, for those with a chronic illness, it can be difficult to navigate unfamiliar ingredients, spices, as well as cooking techniques can cause stomach discomfort. Foodborne diseases such as norovirus, E. coli, and salmonella may strike older people significantly more frequently, leading to long-term illness, dehydration, and an extremely weak immunity. Although locals might have developed immunity to specific bacteria found in their water sources, visitors typically don't have that same level of protection. Drinking the tap or eating a meal that has been washed with local water could result in serious stomach infections. Hotel rooms, public restrooms, or rental cars are also places where bacteria persist. People often think that just since a space appears clean, it's safe. However, surfaces such as doorknobs, seatbelts, and tables aren't cleaned in the way they ought to be. People who depend on aids for mobility, such as canes or walkers, face a greater risk because they are often on common surfaces to the sake of balance. How can they ensure their safety? In the event of travel, making extra security measures is vital. Protecting yourself with a mask when traveling in busy places, regularly washing your hands, as well as carrying hand sanitizer helps reduce the possibility of contracting harmful germs. Drinking only filtered or bottled water, not eating raw food when in uninformed areas, or eating well-cooked meals will help to prevent foodborne diseases. If you are traveling abroad, having recommended vaccinations as well as taking essential medication to treat stomach or respiratory illnesses is essential. It can be done, but you must be vigilant, prepare, as well as a robust immune system. But health issues don't have to be the sole concern. One more reason to consider is getting older can become more burdensome than an enjoyable experience. It's an issue that will affect the health of your body, but too, your finances as well as your peace of mind. If you're viewing this video and are finding the information valuable, then please make a second comment to confirm that you're watching. If you're still not subscribed, I suggest you sign up and set the alarm to ensure you don't be able to miss any video. Thanks for your help in producing quality content that will inform and motivate you. What was the last thing you did? Let's go towards the future. 3. Travel fatigue and the challenges of recovery. While traveling may sound exciting, however, for those older than 70, the physical burden can be more than anticipated. A long flight, unscheduled check-in times, early departures, as well as hours of walking could cause exhaustion, which can be difficult to overcome. Contrary to the younger age in which an evening's rest can recharge the body, people in their later years typically experience fatigue that lasts for weeks or days following a vacation. If your body is fatigued and exhausted, the rest of your body suffers. Immunity is reduced, the coordination gets worse, and the chance for injury or illness rises. One of the major challenges seniors confront when they travel is sleep disruption. In a bed that isn't familiar and navigating noisy hotel rooms and adjusting to various time zones could cause it to be difficult to rest properly. It's not just about being exhausted, it can affect cognitive performance, damages the immune system, even increasing the chance of suffering from heart ailments. Research has shown that people who have to travel through multiple time zones typically require more time to adapt, and thus jet lag may take longer than you think. It can also make a trip that was otherwise pleasant into an unpleasant experience, which leaves travelers feeling exhausted rather than feeling refreshed. There's also the matter of strain on the body. Long hours of sitting on the bus, plane, or train may result in painful joints, stiff muscles, and a higher possibility from blood clots. In the case of seniors suffering from problems with circulation or arthritis, prolonged travel can result in irritation that continues long even after the journey is finished. When you finally arrive at your location, the physical strains of exploring, carrying baggage, as well as keeping track of the schedule can be overwhelming. The initial excitement of a holiday can soon become a struggle to keep pace. Think about the situation. Take the case Richard, who was 75 years old, who was always a travel enthusiast. Following retirement, he and his wife were planning a 2-week holiday abroad, believing that it would be as pleasurable as their travels during earlier times. After a flight lasting 10 hours and navigating through a busy airport as well as adjusting to a shift of 6 hours, Richard felt exhausted before the journey even began. The second day was the worst for him. It was difficult for him to walk far distances and was unable to keep his eyes open during the tours and ended up taking regular breaks. When he had adjusted the pace, it was nearly time to return home. He was able to rest for the next few weeks from the journey instead of basking in the memory. A different challenge for seniors is maintaining their normal nutrition and water intake. There are many places with unfamiliar food which can trigger digestive problems. Being hydrated, moving around is frequently neglected. In the absence of enough water, dehydration can trigger tiredness, dizziness, and even a lack of clarity, which can make routine activities appear to be an uphill battle. When you add poor sleep to the mix and physical stress, it's not difficult to understand how many older people feel worse after an excursion and not feeling rejuvenated. The question is, what can we do? If traveling is a necessity, senior citizens should schedule enough rest days to keep hydrated and stay away from overscheduling their lives with multiple events. By taking shorter flights and having the option of a layover to get about, packing healthy snacks and allowing the time to nap can aid in reducing the exhaustion. However, knowing your individual limitations and altering the travel plan accordingly is vital, since a trip should be relaxing, not one that requires months to heal from. The physical strain of traveling is an issue to seniors, however, it's not the only threat. Fourth, a higher chance of injuries and falls. One of the most significant risks when traveling in the age of 70 is the higher chance of injuries and falls. As we get older, the equilibrium, reflexes, and bone density decrease naturally, which makes us more susceptible to injury. Accidents happen, and although a small fall in the comfort of your home may not appear to be an issue, but a slip and fall on the way to work, particularly in a foreign area, can result in injuries to bones, long hospitalizations, and even permanently impaired mobility. A single slip can alter the direction of a person's life and turn what was supposed to be an enjoyable trip to an expensive, painful ordeal. A lot of seniors aren't aware of the different environments for travel could be from the ones they're familiar with. Hotels, cruise vessels, as well as historic locations are often characterized by unlevel floors, dimly lit steps, or slippery surfaces that increase the risk of falling. Certain destinations offer little or access facilities. This means basic activities, like getting on the bus or strolling along cobblestone roads, can be dangerous in unexpected ways. There are many locations where emergency medical care isn't the same speed or sophistication that they are at home, which means that even a minor accident can take a longer time to heal, thereby increasing the likelihood of problems. Let's look at the situation of Linda, who was 78 years old, who always had a dream of going to Europe. She was fit for her age and was walking often in her local area with no issues. However, when she arrived in Italy and began to navigate the rocky, uneven streets, she discovered that it was not as simple as she had thought. When she got off a curb that was lit by a dim passageway, she lost balance and slid off the sidewalk and fractured her hip. She was transported to the local hospital, in which doctors advised her that she was in need of surgery. Then, not only was she forced to end her journey, however, she spent several months recovering after coming back to her home. It was intended to be a trip that would last a lifetime, was something she would never had. A third factor that can be a contributing factor is fatigue. It is common for travel to be long-lasting and irregular eating schedules and disturbed sleep patterns, each of which could impact balance and coordination. When the body is fatigued, the body's reaction time slows down, which makes a stumble or slip more likely. In the case of seniors suffering from joint or arthritis, walking for long distances through railway stations, airports, or other tourist destinations can trigger the body to swell and cause discomfort. This can increase the chance of experiencing a sudden decrease in stability. How can they lower the chance of this happening? When travel is needed, using destinations that have good access, staying away from zones with uneven terrain, as well as ensuring that you wear the right shoes, can be helpful. Walking sticks, comfortable shoes, and a healthy lifestyle will also make a significant impact. In the end, being aware of your personal limitations is crucial, as no journey should be a reason to sacrifice your mobility and freedom. If you're viewing this video and are finding the tips useful, leave a comment below and inform me that you're here. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, I suggest to sign up and turn off the sounder so that you don't miss a single video. Thanks for your help in making great content that informs and motivates you. What was it that you learned? We'll move towards number 5, the topic of the insurance for travel, as well as the financial risk. Unexpected hazards of traveling. Once you're doesn't just concern health issues, it's also about the financial risks associated from the process. Most seniors think that should they experience an issue while traveling, they'll be able to rely on their insurance coverage or savings. However, the truth is that travel-related medical issues such as trip cancellations and even frauds in the financial sector could drain one's bank account much faster than they are aware. In the case of many senior citizens, one incident can make a trip that was planned well into a financial catastrophe and leave them facing a mountain of costs and anxiety. One of the largest risks to your finances is the cost of medical treatment overseas. Most seniors aren't aware the health insurance they have typically doesn't cover treatments abroad. That means that should you get sick or injured on the road and suffer an injury, you may be responsible for thousands of dollars worth of costs for medical expenses, and even in places which healthcare costs are lower. Medical evacuations in emergencies, like being transported to a hospital that is reputable, could cost hundreds of thousands. If you don't have the proper coverage for travel, older people may end up in a scenario in which they have to incur a massive cost out of their own pocket or are unable to access the medical care they require. Also, there's the matter of cancellations. A lot of seniors plan trips months ahead, believing they'll be healthy at the time of their trip. However, life can be unpredictable, and medical conditions may arise unexpectedly and require a trip to be postponed or cancelled altogether. Unfortunately, a lot of hotels, airlines, and cruise companies enforce strict guidelines that don't offer refunds in the event of cancellations last minute, and seniors may be liable for thousands of dollars in losses if they must alter their plans. If they don't have adequate trip insurance, recouping that cash could be a nightmare. Beyond the medical cost and cancellations, beyond medical expenses and cancellations, there's an additional threat to your financial security: scams and fraud. Seniors are usually victimized by fraudsters who target travelers with techniques like fake taxi services or overcharging for basic goods, as well as elaborate scams that are designed to get credit card data. Scammers are particularly attracted by seniors who are unfamiliar of their surroundings. They are aware that they're less likely to be aware of scams occurring in real time. Sometimes, scammers prey on older people by offering false vacation offers that later turn out to be a ruse and a costly scam. Think about the story of George, who was 76 years old, who has always been cautious about his spending. George booked his dream trip on a tropical island, taking care to save for each part of the journey. However, when he got there and checked into the hotel, he found out that the one that he had booked wasn't there. It was an internet-based scam when the scam was discovered that his deposit was lost. Without a place to stay, it was a struggle for a hotel, spending twice what he set aside to get an accommodation. What was supposed to be a peaceful trip ended up being a financially tangled mess. When he returned home, how can senior citizens be protected? Be sure to check your health insurance plan covers the international journey in the event that it doesn't make sure you have a reliable travel insurance policy that covers emergency medical situations and cancellations of trips. When booking your trip, make sure you use trustworthy companies. Avoid offers that appear too appealing to be real. Also, be prudent with your money when traveling. Don't carry large sums of cash. Be aware of the people who have an access point to credit card data. Don't trust anyone who have access to your personal financial information. Although travel is exciting, but these risks to your finances make evident that when you're over the age of 70, more cautiousness is needed. Costs that are unexpected, as well as the chance that you'll lose money through scams, and the insanity of medical emergencies makes traveling a risk that all seniors are prepared to accept. However, does that mean that you shouldn't travel at all? Not necessarily. The final thoughts are, in order of 5 main reasons that travel after age 70 is a risky proposition. Significant risks, these are ones that most older people aren't aware of until confronted with them for the first time. From sudden health crises to injuries, exhaustion problems with finances and infections, each of these issues could turn an enjoyable vacation into a tense or hazardous experience. Although travel can seem like something exciting to do in time in retirement, the reality is that once one reaching a certain age, travel demands more preparation, prudence, and awareness than earlier in life. However, does this mean that seniors aren't allowed to go on a trip? Not necessarily. That's just a sign that older people, how they think about travel, needs to be altered. Instead of enduring lengthy flights, stressful tours, and dangerous destinations, you may want to select more convenient and safer choices that won't place too much stress on your body. Explore local sites, taking smaller trips, or choosing places that offer an easy accessibility to medical services could make all the impact on the quality of life and safety. It is important to make travel enjoyable and not bring new challenges that persist long even after the trip has ended. If you or your family member is planning to travel at the age of 70, consider taking a moment to consider the possible challenges. Do you have the health to take on the journey? Do you have adequate insurance for travel to safeguard against financial losses? Are you able to select a place that's safe and convenient to meet your requirements? This may not be appealing to you, however. Asking them in an honest manner can prevent the stress and hassle later on. The conclusion of the day, the goal of longevity goes beyond making life longer. It's about ensuring that your life is filled with a sense of independence, quality, and a sense of peace. If staying away from unnecessary travel is about maintaining a healthy and safe lifestyle, is worth considering your options prior to booking your next trip. Thanks for coming with us for this day. We'd like to know what you think. Write a note below and let us know what that you've discovered, what you earned today, and what you're planning to utilize it to improve your everyday life. Your opinions are valuable to us, so don't be afraid to share your thoughts with us. Commenting on your feedback provides us with an immense amount of motivation and inspiration. If you like this film and find it useful, please follow us on Twitter, and then make sure to share it with your friends. We appreciate your support in producing quality content that will inform and motivate you. We appreciate your support, and we're looking at seeing you on the next one.